Okay, welcome back. Hidden Acres Outdoors. A lot of people have questions on, well, should I buy a bush hog or a finish mower or a flail mower or a sickle mower? Now, I can't talk about sickle mowers, but I can talk about bush hogs and flail mowers. I've had bush hogs. I've used them ever since I was a kid. They're great machines. However, I recently found out what the flail mower business is all about. So let me show you exactly what a flail mower is and what it does, and then we'll go around the homestead here and do a little bit more flail mowing. I've had it out playing with it the past couple of days. If you saw our shorts, you know I busted the chain off of it and it was a mess, but all that's fixed now. So let me show you the workings of this flail mower. Okay, this happens to be an articulated offset flail mower. So I can take one set of the rear remotes and run to the swing arm, which will move this thing out to this side of the tractor. And that comes in really handy. But what else comes in handy is you can rotate this sucker up, up 90 degrees to work on it. That way, you can check your hammers. They also have these that come with like V-shaped knives that give a better cut and a better finish. But if you're using it for mulching up stuff down in the woods and everything else, the hammers are much more durable than the blades are. I can tell you these hammers will take a beating. They're not hard to change out. The PTO runs 540 RPM on the shaft, and then it's got this roller back here the whole machine rides on. A lot of people complain because they go, oh, well, I can't do anything with my daggum flail mower because all I do is scalp my fields and this, that, and the other. The problem is you aren't setting your flail mower up correctly. Now I'm going to lower this thing down into the mowing position and then come back and show you how to do that, because you're right. If you don't set it up right, you're going to have those hammers digging in the dirt and you're going to have a mess on your hands. Okay, this is more in the cutting position. I don't have it offset off to the side. I'm kind of impressed with it so far. I had that one little issue, if you saw that shorts, where the safety chain in the front had not been cotter pinned, and I happened to miss that. You can see actually that my roller is on the ground and my skids are not. So, that's going to keep you from digging into the rocks and the dirt, and I'll show you how that's been working out. This is set roughly 4 to 4.5 inches from where these hammers are. But if you set it up correctly, what you have up here is you've got like a float position, so you can get that adjusted like you want it, and that's going to tilt it back. And you can see I've got the back roller adjusted in the bottom notch there, so it sticks down the lowest. I also did the same thing with my skids so that they're sticking down as far as I can get them, because I'm just doing rough cut stuff with this. But I'm telling you, even with that, it does a good job, and I'll show you some video. I've been playing with it yesterday and today. I will tell you that if you're having issues with this thing and it's messing up your fields, it's because you don't have it adjusted. So set it up. The manual will tell you that you need about a 15-degree angle from from the back, angling upwards towards the front of this thing. And you might think, well, that's going to throw a whole lot of crap into me and my tractor. Not really. I haven't had any issues yet. I was a little bit concerned, as you probably are, if you've got a cab tractor, that you're going to chunk a rock or something up there and bust some of that glass. But knock on wood, so far so good. And I would not run it without the safety chains. And if I find myself getting into some gravel or something else, I just pick it up a little bit with the 3-point lift arms, and you might be cutting it 6 inches instead of 4, but in my opinion it beats a bush hog. That if you hit some of those rocks with a bush hog, they can go out 360 degrees. You don't know where that sucker's coming out. Well, the sides are protected a little bit, but if you look at the side of my Rhino bush hog, it's got dents in it, man, that I would hate to have been on the receiving end of that. when you mow with a bush hog, it doesn't mulch up nearly as well as this thing does. Now, you're not going to have fine little tufts of grass like you're going to find on a golf course, but I did do a couple of passes in what we call a yard here, but it actually does a pretty good job and does a fairly clean cut. Now, it's not a finish mower, but it finishes a heck of a lot better than what the bush hog will do. The bush hog will leave a whole plethora of big clumps laying out through your field, and nothing's going to grow under. This thing mulches it up much better, turns it into natural fertilizer and mulch. And you know, I'm not saying I'm going to sell my bush hog, because I might decide to use it for some other projects or whatever. But I can tell you that the flail mower is going to get most of my business in the future. So let's take this thing out for a little bit and see what it'll do. Okay, one thing you've got to be sure to do, especially when you're doing bush hogging or something like that, is keep some kind of blower or something on hand to keep this thing cleaned out. I've already cleaned it, but and when you pull this off and clean out the air filter, I've already done that. That's why I'm about to sneeze my darn fool head off. Also be sure, pull this little cap off down here, because it can get clogged up and you're not going to get airflow through your engine, and it's going to start to overheat, and you're going to figure, well, what's wrong? Because I've got all this stuff cleaned out of my filter screens. On the TYM, you've got one in the front, and you've also got one that sits back in here, so be sure you get in here and blow everything out. And I'll show you that filter. It's over here. Wow, that went for a ride, didn't it? It's over here on the other side. I've got it pulled off where I cleaned it up. So we're going to slide that back in. But you can pick up one of these little things at Lowe's. I think they're 100, 120 bucks, something like that. They're not bad. And just keep it somewhere up in the cab of your tractor when you're out doing bush hog work or field work. You know, otherwise you stand a real good chance, especially if you're not paying attention to your temperatures, of overheating your tractor, and that's never a good thing. Okay, so if you've got one of these things, and I forgot to mention, and I really should have, it's one of the big selling points on this particular piece of machinery, you can articulate this thing up and down and mow with it up to 60 degrees angle of bank. So, you know, that's pretty daggum steep. But if you've got one, you've probably already purchased a bush hog, and you also have this. So if you've got any comparisons or whatnot, feel free. And actually, I would encourage you to leave the comments you have on one versus the other in the comments below to help people that have not pulled the trigger and purchased one of these things, because they're not cheap. They're a lot more expensive than a bush hog, but you know, add your 2 cents worth into the information that these people that haven't yet bought a bush hog or a flail mower might need to know, and do us all a big favor and help us all out. So until next time, we'll see you from Hidden Acres Outdoors. I think this video is about to end. I appreciate you watching. If you like this, give us a like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because we got a lot of work to do with this sucker.